Bonsoir et merci pour garder au rendez-vous avec News Extra. L'océan Indien, Côte-Seychelles, ici, il couvert une superficie environ 70,5 millions de kilomètres carrés. Il balise avec l'Asie dans le nord, l'Afrique dans l'ouest, l'Australie dans l'est et l'Antarctique dans le sud. Il y a une quarantaine de pays qui balisent avec ça l'océan, qui est source la richesse pour les autres et aussi important pour les autres pays dans les autres parties du monde à cause qu'il servi comme la route maritime pour une transaction commerce et son ressources, il nourrit une grande partie de la population du monde. En vue de l'importance de l'océan, il y a beaucoup d'efforts qui ont été faits par beaucoup de pays pour protéger, pour nous capables de continuer à bénéficier de l'IN, ça bon pays. Au commissaire Len pour Seychelles, tu fais une présentation plus bonne cette semaine, le polysilène dans l'océan Indien. Médias et invité qui là, qui profiter pour demander différentes questions, surtout le sujet qui concerne Seychelles. Sa présentation, le polysilène dans l'océan Indien, qui fait aux commissions LEN qui dans bâtiment Esplanade Victoria. Sa présentation est organisée par Sir James Mancam Peace and Diplomacy Research Institute en bas l'Université Seychelles en collaboration avec aux commissions LEN. C'est professeur Dennis Hardy, sorti UNICE, qui lance sa présentation. Il est troisième d'une série de présentations qui l'Institut peut organiser les différents aspects et bons changements qui peuvent arriver dans l'océan Indien et qui touchent bon pays dans son alentour. Premier, tilo la Somalie, qui peut faire face avec plusieurs défis, et deuxième, tilo la France, qui a une grande histoire et l'influence dans l'océan Indien en termes qu'il inclut en gaz et beaucoup d'activités la pêche par bon bateau français dans l'océan. Sa séminaire qui t'y fait avant hier, le polysilène dans l'océan Indien, t'as assisté par certains citoyens seychellois, membres de la presse, secrétaire d'État pour les affaires étrangères, certains les autres diplomates étrangers parmi les autres invités. C'était au commissaire LEN Seychelles, Dr Aoussaf Saïd, qui fait sa présentation, qui cause aux différents engagements LEN dans différents aspects dans l'océan Indien et bon pays la région et même plus loin. Beaucoup l'emphase qui mettait la nécessité pour un an la paix et stabilité dans l'océan Indien qui est très important pour maintenir une stabilité économique dans le pays qui dépend de l'eau dans la région et le monde entier pour commerce, la pêche et comme une source nourriture parmi les autres.
A peaceful and stable maritime environment is critical for the regional and global security. Given the scale and complexity of modern-day challenges, the international maritime stability cannot be the preserve of a single nation. It has to be a shared goal and responsibility of all the seafaring countries. You as a country, for example, in Seychelles, exclusively dependent on tourism, dependent on the containers to bring food. If the seas are not safe, then you can imagine the consequences for both small countries and for big countries.
Après son présentation, tu as certaines questions. Parmi les certains sujets qui beaucoup se lois concernés avec pareil sa facilité militaire aux îles Assomption qui l'en pour être Seychelles construit et qui rencontrait beaucoup l'opposition.
As the Seychelles, ever since we've been in existence as a small nation, we had never had problem with any country. We had welcomed every national that had come to Seychelles with an open arm. We do not need a military base on our island. Because tomorrow, if anything happens, the way the world is turning upside down these days, we don't want to be smashed away just for the greed power of bigger nations.
At the height of the piracy, somewhere in the 2009-2010, the government of Seychelles had been requesting its various partners, international partners, for various kinds of assistance. And one of the things which was sought after was to have a kind of a military outpost or a military facility for Coast Guard exactly to face these kinds of challenges. Now, the government of Seychelles talked within the Africa forums, within their other forums with the Western countries, but ultimately the country which actually responded was India. That was in 2009. That was exactly in May 2009. Then subsequent discussions took place in April 2013, and then the agreement was signed in March 2015, and then subsequently a revised agreement was signed in January 2018. Now, just to tell you that, first of all, Assumption is not a military base. So military base is a place where the nationals of any other country are not given access to. The proposal which came from the Seychelles side was to have a Coast Guard facility which would be owned by Seychelles, funded by India, and managed jointly by Seychelles and India. That was what was envisioned. Now, when it was envisioned like that, there was the thing that since the ownership is with Seychelles, that is your land. That is the facility which you want to develop. We didn't ask for the developing the facility. We responded to your request. That is one. Then, since it's not a military base, it's a joint facility which was there. And joint facility where the possibility of allowing the facilities to be used by third countries in terms of natural disasters, in terms of the natural port calls, all this was inbuilt in that. So that tomorrow if there is a French boat coming from there, a French ship coming or a British ship coming or any other thing coming, they should be in a position to use, but of course within the certain, the established procedures which the countries will have. So I think it is wrong, first of all, to say that it's a military base of India. No, it's not the military base. There has been no agreement to lease the land or own the land. It is your land. We are there to guide you, help you where you need and what assets you need. Now, that guidance will be there as long as you need it. As an inherent philosophy, India doesn't believe in aggression. India believes in developing a consensus. The same is where with the Assumption as a Coast Guard facility, which the government of Seychelles wanted India to help, and that's how the conversation began. The conversation began in 2009, and we are in 2018. It has taken 9 years for both the countries to work out and smooth out the edges. So this is still, we are there in that process.
Dr. Saïd Djossi explique l'importance sa facilité garde la côte en vue d'un défi et menaces qui peut continuer à augmenter dans la région et le monde entier et nécessité pour un pays collaborer pour capable plus bien faire face avec sa bonne problème.
In the case of any maritime incident which happens in the island's vicinity, it takes about 40 hours for the Coast Guard to dispatch, a boat there or a Coast Guard team. It takes about 3 hours for dispatching a military surveillance aircraft, and then leaves the scope for a lot of undesirable activities that may take place. So many challenges which you are facing, we should not consider that Seychelles, as a small island nation, is immune from these challenges. These challenges, whether it is international terrorism or any other thing, do not see land borders. They do not distinguish between one country and other country. They just traverse across the international borders. What we had not foreseen, in the past, have become realities now. Who would have thought about 9/11? Who would have thought about, the kinds of attacks which are taking place? You as a small nation, I'm not kind of raising an alarmist situation, but please, no country should be complacent to say that, your safety lies in you remaining isolated. India and Seychelles are engaged in EEZ surveillance, engaged in hydrographic surveys, engaged in narcotics patrolling, both together. Then there is no reason why they should not engage together, either Seychelles and India or anything else, for managing certain areas over which your security forces face difficulties. You have challenges. You have talked about Aldabra. I understand that Aldabra, of course, there are 150,000 tortoises there, but the maritime resources in the region are under constant threat, and the target of illegal fishing and turtle smuggling does not diminish by having a facility there. In fact, it would strengthen you in monitoring that more carefully, because if you see really the statistics, which are not from now, even before Seychelles became independent, you should see how many tortoises were there and who did the poaching and how many tortoises are still being poached, how many illegal people are just parking themselves on those islands without much information percolating on this side. So there are several things which, as a layman or as a common person, I'm not a military person, but we know that there are these things happening and there are these challenges which are there. So it doesn't involve Seychelles doesn't drag Seychelles into any arms race. We are not kind of after Seychelles to do this, but then it is the need of the hour for you to be little vigilant, need of the hour for your security forces to be more responsive, and which they are. But then given the resources to them, they can actually exercise these functionalities in a much enhanced and a much better manner.
Actually, there's China's great involvement in development projects in Africa called the Road Belts Initiative, and India has its Outreach Africa policy. There's speculation that there is a geopolitical rivalry between India and China in the region. What are your comments?
First of all, I don't think that that perception is correct, because when we conduct our foreign policy, like any other country which conducts its own foreign policy, it is not done vis-a-vis any other country. It is the foreign policy is conducted on the basis of your own self-enlightened interest. And with Africa in particular, India has a very, very long relationship. We suffered, the same kind of. We have the similar history. We were both subjugated by various colonial powers. We have come up through that. In fact, the independence of India has also triggered the independence of several countries. So I don't think it is correct to compare that what India is doing is something which China is doing, or what China is doing, we have to match it. So in fact, I think there is space for every country to work together. There is space for every country to engage with different regions in the world. And I do not think that India and China are really competing with each other in Africa.
L'NXCL qui établit relations diplomatiques en 1976, 42 ans passés, et jusqu'à aujourd'hui, sont encore des bons amis et partenaires stratégiques. Il y a une très bonne coopération entre les deux pays. Kodlen supporte et encore supporte Seychelles dans plusieurs domaines. Et parmi côté très active, il la défense et surveillance sécurité maritime.
A lot of people are saying it's hidden agenda for the Indian Ocean. It has other motives. That's why it's coming in. It's helping the country. It has military interest in the region. What would you say to these comments?
Our relations go with Seychelles even before Seychelles became independent. Now, if you read history and then see, on two major occasions when there were coup attempts and to overthrow your legitimate government, the country which came forward to avert the coups and alert your leadership was India. We never had any, covert interest in any country, and most of it Seychelles, who we consider, as I said, as a close neighbor and all. We have this partnership. There is trust which is there. Now, it's not just with Seychelles that we offer ITEC scholarships, we offer the thing. It is with the whole region as such. India consider itself, because we suffered quite a bit during the colonial rule, we feel it is our right and our duty to spread knowledge and spread this thing. So now, in terms of collaboration, as we said, the world is moving towards collaboration. If Seychelles doesn't cooperate or collaborate with, leave India, with any country in that matter, so you will be in a situation where you are not gaining from the experiences of others. We also gain from Seychelles. You have tremendous tremendous progress in blue economy, for example, and you are a world leader in blue economy. You are Africa's #1 state in terms of Human Development Index. So there are lots of bigger countries which has lots to learn from a small island development state like Seychelles. So it's not that it's being size is big, that it's both a reciprocal process. So we are friends and we are marching together. Many people sometimes ask me, why are you giving scholarships? Okay, I mean, there's no why. This is our culture. We share knowledge, and we share not only with Seychelles, we share with 160 countries, including developed countries. When you are friends and when you have neighbors, the first one you would think of in times of need is your neighbor. There is nothing wrong in it. You don't ask your neighbor, why are you helping me? Then you say, I'm your neighbor, I'm supposed to help you. Just talking on this cooperation, I just want to add that we have a very extensive developmental assistance cooperation with Seychelles. As you have seen that recently we have donated 71 Tata buses which have already come. Then there are 10 ambulances coming next month. About 2 weeks ago, we had the foundation ceremony for the Magistrates Court, which is the first construction project which we are engaged in. And in the presentation, I talked about India being the first to respond in terms of disasters. I don't want to sound boastful, but just to kind of educate some of the people is that, like you had the very, very unfortunate incident of SPTC, a huge fire in SPTC where all the spare parts had been destroyed. And now, as a partner country, Seychelles government approached us saying that we have a crisis situation. If the buses stop on the road, there are no spare parts to repair. And we cannot sustain beyond 2 weeks. This thing is there, and we need the spare parts to be airlifted. So that is where we came in. It is not there in any newspaper, it is not there anywhere, but we were there standing shoulder to shoulder with Seychelles, first sending them a critical spare parts worth around $353,000 US. Then now we are processing another request close to around $900 US, 900,000 for spare parts.
Seychelles is paying those
It is from the Indian grant. We are also helping in preparing the feasibility study for a super specialty hospital. Again, you see, Seychelles is a country which is spending a lot of resources for medical treatment of its citizens abroad. And India is one of the countries where a lot of patients go. Now, we said that why do you need to send so many patients abroad when perhaps we can have a facility here owned by the Seychelles government, perhaps we can help. So we are trying to see whether that can be done. Suppose if when the super specialty hospital, if at all it comes up, that will be extremely beneficial. So you will only send people abroad when there is a critical need. Otherwise, you will have a major hospital here itself which can treat major illnesses. It can be a referral hospital for the region. It can also provide a lot of benefit for the tourists who come, because it can develop the medical tourism. So we think in a holistic manner how we can develop the relationship like that. We are now working with Seychelles to fund several small development projects, small projects in different districts. For example, if there is a district where there is a community center which needs repairs, schools which need repairs, there is a road which is not there. So for some reason, if the budgets do not have provision here, or where there are resource crunch and where you feel that some assistance is needed, this is part of our small developmental promotion project which we do with our neighbors. And since I mentioned in the presentation that we consider Seychelles as our neighbor, so those projects are also being done under the Indian grant. And these projects are typically small projects where the size of each project, the value of each project cannot exceed 7 million Seychelles rupees, and at any given point of time you can have not more than 35 million Seychelles rupees spent. But the point is, these are small stuff. Sometimes you are not concerned about bigger things as a community, something very small which is affecting you right there, so, and then maybe it's taking time. So we have evolved a mechanism. President has constituted a special committee to kind of engage with India for these kinds of projects. So I mean to say that one hand you have the capacity building like ITEC, then you have these kinds of projects. So it's not the military or military alone, but the civilian component, which is much higher, but sometimes do not get as much attention which it actually rightly deserves. We have no vested interest, we have no military ambitions at all, not from now, not even from our history. Seychelles has been our very strong partner for a long time, and I see that it will remain our long time for a long time to come.
Au commissaire Hélène pour Seychelles, tu aussi répondre questions journalistes, lo ça qui beaucoup Seychellois croient, bon indien puis infiltré dans tout l'aspect la vie Seychelles, qu'on peut faire business et acheter propriété un peu partout.
Seychelles is a country which takes pride in people originating from different parts of the world. You have the African origin diaspora, you have the Indian diaspora, you have the Chinese diaspora, you have the Europeans, and lately also the Arabs. So it's a country where the intermingling of cultures is a kind of a strength of Seychelles, and this should remain the strength of Seychelles, rather than people engaging in discussions which are disrupting perhaps the very fabric of Seychelles. When you say about the Indian, I presume that you're talking about the Seychellois of Indian origin, because there are no Indian passport holders who are engaged in any businesses here, because the law is there for the Seychellois people. So as I said, these are the Seychellois people of Indian origin who are find in different practicing different vocation and doing different businesses. Now in a free economy anywhere in the world, whether it is India, US or Seychelles, it all depends on your end results depend on the effort which is put in. Suppose if I am hard working and if I put in extra effort, then perhaps I may expect a little bit more prosperity in the businesses which I do. So I don't think, having said that the Seychellois of Indian origin are in any manner taking away the opportunities from the Seychellois of other origin. That is where your own establishments and your own regulations, which should be made in such a manner that no trade or no businesses are monopolized, and there should be then, without compromising on the competition which exists in different trades. So I cannot visualize, let's say in India or US or anywhere else, that the governments put certain conditionalities on business. This all depends on supply and demand. So having said that, I personally do not feel that there is any such thing like that. It's a kind of perception which is wrongly and erroneously being spread out, that Seychellois of Indian origin are maybe engaged in different businesses. But then remember, they are Seychellois people. They are Seychellois people, part and parcel of your own society. They are your population. So I think it's time for your governments to engage in capacity building, engage in training, engage in entrepreneurship development. So those people who are not, finding themselves, competent to match the entrepreneurial skill of some of the people by virtue of their lineage or by virtue of their practice, they all become the thing. For example, we have been talking with the government of Seychelles to have, entrepreneurship development center, SME centers, so that, individuals then become manufacturers. They are part of the economy. So I think the more to do with those things, then I cannot sit on the corner and say, okay, my neighbor is progressing and I'm not progressing if I'm not participating. So I think the collective effort of your government and our government to help would be to empower the people, make them, enhance hone their talent, so that whatever talents they have, whether it is in terms, so you have a youthful population, 50% of the population are youth. So in fact, the youth have really transformed the world. So if you want, you can do anything you want. So it's only a question of an opportunity coming at the right time. And this is where I think we should work.
News Extra est terminé. Merci pour l'attention. Joignez-nous vendredi prochain pour un autre programme News Extra.